when I had a keyboard. Twinkle, this is just as important as having children. Well, thank you, Twinkle. Maybe. But let's get to Friday's episode now. We are revisiting the disappearance of Robin Abrams. Claire de Lune is a fantastic tune, Katie. That was my grandmother Emma's favorite classical song. Classical piece. You don't call them songs. Classical piece. We are revisiting Robin Abrams' disappearance. Kind of decided that I was going to do this when I knew that we were going to be talking about her disappearance on Dr. Grace Telesco's show 2 weeks ago. And so I reconnected with Jody, her sister I hadn't talked to in a long time, and she put me in contact with a former deputy and investigator in Will County, Illinois, where Robin disappeared, where she was becoming a deputy before she got fired. And his name is Steve Kneckrum, Knickrem. And he happened to be the deputy who just happened to be out in front of his house that the day that Robin was pulled over and accosted by her fellow deputies, including Tony Marquez. And you'll remember that going back to, if you'll listen to it, the interview that I did with Jody, she talked about how Jody was pulled over and this other deputy saw it in front of his house. This is that deputy. And he saw a lot while he was a deputy, then investigator in Will County. And I did a 3-hour interview with him yesterday. And he talks about the crookedness and corruption that he saw while he worked in Will County. And he did know Robin, not well, but he knew her. And his investigation kind of that he did on Robin's disappearance once he became an investigator around 1994, and he has some interesting stories there. So what's going to happen on Friday is I'm going to play a condensed version of the episode that played back in November of 2016. And then after Jody's original interview for 2016, Steve's interview that I conducted yesterday, I will play. And then there will be new commentary at the end. Like I said, this episode is going to be over 4 hours long. That's just the way it is. The original episode with Jody, I think, wasn't even quite 2 hours, but you add in Steve's interview that I did with 3 hours because we had to do that long, and I think you'll eventually understand why when you hear it. But that is going to be this Friday's episode. And I'm telling you right now, what you are going to hear is going to disgust you. If it disgusted you back in 2016 or more recently when you re-listened to Robin's episode, it's going to even disgust you more when you hear what Steve has to say. He's a deputy. His fellow deputies tapped his own phone. They broke into his house. And you're going to hear about go. And so you're just probably going to have to make time for it. I understand you'll have to watch it probably in smaller bits, but we're not like other programs where we condense everything down to an hour. If it takes 4 hours to cover disappearance thoroughly, that's what we're going to do. So, but there are some files to read that probably will be important that you know about before Friday, and they are at theunfoundpodcast.com, right there on the front page, right there with the Stephen Kocher files. And these are things that Steve had sent me that I think that they will get your attention. So that's this Friday. We're going to revisit the disappearance of Robin Abrams. Like I said, I decided to do it when we covered it for Dr. Grace Telesco's show, and of course it took, she had picked it out 3 weeks before we did it, so I started thinking about, you know what, haven't talked to Jody in a while, and we needed to let her know that we were going to be talking about it. So we started talking, and she said that she was in touch with Steve, and then I started thinking, if I can interview him, and we can recover this and do it even better than we did back in 2016. So I was like, yeah, I like that idea a lot. Because a lot of these corrupt cops, surely some of them had something to do with Robin's disappearance. All of them are still alive. And as I've told Robin, or as I've told Jody, as I've told Steve, they may get off this earth without being charged with anything regarding Robin's disappearance, but I'm not going to allow it to be easy on them. I'm going to at least try to make them sweat it out. So we'll see what we can do. That's this Friday, the revisiting of the disappearance of Robin Abrams. Seriously, the number, I know that we've talked a lot about deputies and sheriffs and everything regarding Tom Brown's disappearance, and maybe we've talked about cops and a couple others, but this is surely the worst stories you're going to hear about police officers that we've covered so far in Unfound. No doubt. None, no doubt. So that's all I got. That's all I have for tonight on the agenda. What do we do? Talked about my disc golf tournament. I don't have, by the way, I'm not playing this weekend. I was supposed to. Just too much going on. I'm going to have to go to Pennsylvania this week. So I canceled my reservations and withdrew from the tournament. So I'll be right here in Clearwater Beach this weekend. So DeBerry tournament last weekend. So I won't have another tournament till the first weekend of January, which I need some time off. Steelers won today. Very cold here. Dad's coming down next week. I have to fly up there and drive him back. Who knows how long he'll be here. I'm sure I'll bore him to death. His birthday was yesterday. My nephew's birthday was today. Happy birthday, John. Talked about the Caleb Powell poll. Unfound Now, the disappearance of Alan White. The newsletter, Did You Get It? All the Stephen Kocher stuff, the fouls and everything. Once again, at theunfoundpodcast.com. Thank you for posting that, Cherie. Took a bunch of great questions tonight from Delane, from a listener who is unnamed, Paula and Dee. And then told you about this Friday's episode, the revisiting of the disappearance of Robin Abrams from Will County, Illinois on October 4th, 1990. So we just passed the 30th anniversary. So that's all I got. Thank you so much. Please, once again, before you leave, do not forget to like this video. Give it the thumbs up on whatever device you're using. And I guess you'll hear me on Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. I'll be posting it. It's going to be a 4-hour episode. Take your time with it. Good night, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. I really love doing these live shows. Good night.